All right. Hello, Team Simplify, and thank you for tuning in to your week 5 lesson. I'm going to go ahead and hop right into things. I want this video to be as short as possible so that you all can make it through the whole thing and get ready for your day, wherever it is, whatever it is that you're doing. So, week 5, our lesson is all about mindful movement. And this feels like such an important part to incorporate into the class, as movement is a huge foundation to help us create leverage in our mindfulness-based practices. And so, as maybe some of you have experienced, sometimes meditating can be challenging. Sometimes settling the mind or finding ourselves in a calm mental state can be difficult. And movement is a great tool to help us facilitate a sense of calm through the body and help settle any agitation within the mind. So I'm going to start by reading our lesson, and then we are going to get into a movement practice. And so for our next week of homework, we'll be adding in 15 minutes of mindful movement to your daily practice. So let's start with our lesson. You can follow along in your course manual, week 5, mindful movement. Mindful movement is something we practice inherently, I need to restart that. I'm speaking from my brain, I wasn't actually reading. Okay, mindful movement. Mindfulness is something we practice inherently with meditation and breathing exercises, although mindfulness is something that is meant to be incorporated into every moment of our life. This week, we begin to practice this cultivation of awareness in our movement exercise. This is our next step for bridging the gap between mindfulness within the mind to become more aware and mindful of what is happening around us. For our practices, we'll be focusing on using yoga as our movement discipline. Here are some fun facts about yoga and how it can help us continue to develop our mindfulness. First, originally yoga was developed to train self-observation. It was a discipline specifically to help people meditate. And so traditionally when it was practiced in yoga, the way we think of yoga is typically the movement practice. But yoga is an ancient and spiritual practice, and the meditation and the philosophy came way before the movement. And so the movement was something that was incorporated into the practice just to help people meditate, which is kind of cool. And in its traditions, yoga was practiced typically in monasteries. And so with the younger generations, with the teens and kids, they had a harder time meditating because they were so active. They wanted to run around and be busy and play. And so yoga was the tool that was used to help the younger people settle the mind, get some energy out of the body, and then be able to meditate. And so maybe some of you can relate to that yourself, that getting some movement in could be helpful for helping the mind settle. Next, it is understood in yoga that the mind and body are not separate entities, and the practice of yoga is what harmonizes the two. In yoga, we practice linking breath with movement. This is where the mind and body practice to become one, which also helps create a flow state. Linking the breath with movement is something that should be incorporated with all movement disciplines. And so you'll notice as we move through our seated yoga practice today that I'll be guiding you to move with your breath. Inhale here, exhale here. Inhale here, exhale here. That's something that if you're a runner or a cycler or a rower or have any other sport that you're doing can be incorporated to help you drop into that flow state, staying focused and staying concentrated on what you're doing, and hopefully finding that rhythm with the movement in such a way that you're not trailing off into thought, but being in a flow. The last one is, one purpose in yoga is to release knots within the body. By dealing with tension on a physical level, we release tension within the mind, acting psychosomatically through the body to the mind. Psychosomatically through the body to the mind. And so I think it can almost sometimes be seen as this abstract idea that the mind and the body are related, or trying to understand how our emotional body relates to the mind. But as you engage with physical tension within the body, or even physical agitation within the body, that impacts you psychosomatically. So impacts the way the mind is functioning. Maybe you have noticed after doing some sort of movement discipline that your mind feels a lot more at ease. That could be from getting out some energy, but that can also be from changing the way your body is experiencing itself. Maybe it's experiencing less tension, less agitation, less pent-up energy. And so as we move the body, we get to move through some of the things that are also impacting the way our mind is functioning, which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and transition and hop into our movement practice. And so I'm going to take us through about 15 minutes of chair yoga. And then, because I promised last week, there was some conversation around posture and posture with breathing. So with our chair yoga, I'll follow it with a bit of breathing exercises and movements that can help us open up the back body and lengthen the spine. These exercises are called foundations. Foundations is a movement discipline that helps people with posture and sciatic pain. And so I'll share those at the end of this video, just because, posture was coming up last week, and these are great practices to grow the way that we're relating to our own back body and back of the ribs, and the way the breath relates to the back body. Okay, so let's go ahead and transition. Take a moment to find yourself in a comfortable seated position. In practicing chair yoga, you'll want to be in a tall seat. So not on a couch and not on the floor on a pillow, but seated upright in a chair. And to begin our practice, let's start by either gazing down towards the floor or closing the eyes. And I want you to notice how you are arriving into this practice initially. So we'll start by noticing what is moving through our own mental landscape. Taking these first few moments of our practice to notice, where is my mind at? Maybe your mind is feeling calm, at ease, spacious. Maybe our mind is hooked on some thoughts from earlier today or some things happening later today. Maybe we're noticing emptiness or overwhelm. After noting what is happening within the mind, go ahead and let yourself release those awarenesses, or release your need to concentrate on what's happening in the mind. And I want you to allow your awareness to start shifting from the mind down into the body. Allowing your awareness to melt from the brain down through the face, the head, neck, shoulders, torso, hips, all the way down the legs and into your feet, through the arms and into your hands. And now, becoming very present in this moment, begin paying attention to what is moving through your body right now. Noticing any subtle sensation that is present. Maybe noticing sensations of tightness or openness, pain or ease. Maybe even noticing any sensation in the body that might be carried from the mind. Maybe if you're feeling overwhelmed in the mind, you could feel overwhelmed in your body, a little anxious. Maybe if you're feeling empty in the mind, you could feel ease or tiredness maybe. Spend the next few moments continuing to notice what is true in your body right now. Staying for another few breaths. Go ahead and begin transitioning your awareness from the whole body into specifically the area of the lungs. Begin following your breath all the way in and all the way out without changing anything, to notice how you are naturally breathing as you arrive into this practice. Maybe noticing if the breath is communicating anything about the way your body is feeling. As you're ready, begin just subtly extending your in and exhalation, coming into our natural rhythmic breathing. Stay here for a few breaths. And together, let's go ahead and find 3 breaths together. Starting with the exhale out, empty the lungs. Take a nice big breath in. Pause at the top. And exhale out the mouth. Again, big breath in. Pause. Extra sip. Exhale out. We'll have that breath one more time. Nice big breath in. Pause. Extra sip. And exhale out. If your eyes aren't already open, go ahead and begin fluttering them open into this space. And we'll start our movement practice by finding some seated cat-cows. And so let's go ahead and inhale, reach the chest forward, gaze goes up, tailbone reaches back, creating some curve through the spine. As you exhale, round your spine the opposite direction, tucking your chin towards your chest and drawing the chest towards your pelvic, rounding the spine. Continue doing this, following your own breath. Inhale, chest reaches forward, tailbone reaches back. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, chest reaches up. Exhale, round the spine. Few more breaths. One more time. And as you're ready, find yourself in a nice tall spine, nice elongated seat. And on your next inhalation, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left palm comes down outside of the left part of the seat. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Nice big stretch for the side body. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, other side. Let's do each side one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, move to the left. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, move to the right. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist to the left. Right palm over the left knee. Left arm comes behind you or behind the seat. Gently gaze over the left shoulder. Stay here for a few breaths. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Crown of the head reaches up a little bit. You'll notice yourself gently untwist a tiny bit. And then exhale, twist even deeper. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up. Exhale, twist. One more time. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up. Exhale, twist. Nice. Inhale, arms reach up, come back to center. Exhale, other side. Left palm over the right knee, right arm comes behind you. Gaze moves over that right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen the spine. You'll notice yourself gently untwist. Exhale, twist a little bit further. Gaze goes over that right shoulder. Again, inhale, crown reaches up. Exhale, twist. One more time. Inhale, crown reaches up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come back to center. Arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's do that whole routine one more time. So inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, left palm comes down outside of the left side of the chair. Right arm reaches up and overhead towards the left side. Nice big stretch through the right side body. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to the right. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist to the left. 3 breaths here. Next inhalation, arms reach up, come back to center. Exhale, other side. 3 breaths. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hands to heart. Nice. Let's go ahead and place our palms down on the knees, on the top of the thighs. And now go ahead and let your left ear fall heavy towards your left shoulder. From here, we're creating a stretch through the right side of the neck. And with each exhalation, see if you can let your head become a little bit heavier. Staying here for a few breaths. You want to invite in a little bit more intensity. You can reach the right arm straight out. Or extend the right fingertips up towards the sky. Another breath or two. Release the right palm down. And then to bring the head up to center, I want you to use your left hand and lift the head up with the hand. Nice. Take a moment to notice any differences between the right and left side of the neck. And then move through the other side. So right ear falls heavy to the right shoulder, opening the left side of the neck. You can stay here or extend the left arm out long. Maybe fingertips reach to the sky. If few more breaths. Release the hand if it's lifted. And then again, now using the right hand, lifting the head up towards center with leverage from the right hand. Last, we'll go ahead and tuck the chin towards the chest. Let the head be heavy, falling forward. And a few breaths here. Go ahead and lift the head back up towards center. Nice. Coming back into some spinal movements. This time, instead of just going forward and back for cat-cow or seated cat-cow, we're going to be moving in some spinal circles. So I want you to inhale and send your chest forward to the front left, and then keep inhaling, chest comes towards the front right, and then exhale, rounding the spine back. We're on the right glute, and then keep rounding over to the left. Inhale forward, rounding front left, from right. Exhale, rounding back right, back left. Following our own breath, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Option to get your head a little more involved, moving your head as the spine moves. Let's go ahead and go for another 2 to 3 circles here. And then switching sides. Other direction, front right to front left to back right. It's okay if this feels kind of silly or unusual in your body. See if you can close your eyes and just let yourself move the spine in a way that feels good. Exploring, finding some rounding, exploring the fluidity of your spine. Let's do it 1 to 2 more times. And coming back to center. From here, I want us to take a moment to engage with a little bit of a breathing practice, not a breathwork practice, but a breathing practice that's going to help us learn a little bit more of that back breathing. To do this, what we're going to do is I want you to make that hang loose sign with your hands, and I want you to take your pinky and place it on your hip. So find your hip bone and place your pinky there. I then want you to take your thumb and place your thumb on your lowest rib. Try to not have your wrist kinked up like mine are now. You want your hands to be flat, and so kind of a straight line from the knuckles down through the wrist into the elbow. Pinkies are on our hips, thumb is on the lowest rib. Now, using this as a way to just notice initially, I want you to take a nice big breath in and feel how that lowest rib moves up. Now exhale out, feel that rib come down. Do it again, nice big breath in. Ribs lift. Exhale, ribs come down. Now stay there for a few moments while I kind of explain. Keep breathing, noticing. Now, if we do that and we're to jet our chest way forward, you can notice how that automatically lifts the ribs quite a bit. So kind of a neutral spine, the rib is lower. If I jet my chest forward, it pulls the ribs up quite a bit. So while we're doing this exercise, what I want us to practice is when we're exhaling out, I want you to see if you can keep your ribs lifted without jetting your chest forward. And how we're going to practice doing this is by exhaling and really engaging our abdominals. And so we'll take a nice big inhale in. Ribs lift. And then exhale, really fire on your abdominals, trying to keep those ribs lifted. And this should feel pretty hard to do on your abdominals if you're not someone who engages your abdominals too much. Let's go ahead and do that again. A nice big inhale in, ribs lift. Exhale, engage the abdominals, firing on your core. Okay, let's go ahead and do that 2 to 3 more times. Inhaling, reaching the crown of the head up, spine is long, ribs lift. Exhale, engage the abdominals. Ribs are staying lifted as much as you can. Let's do one more. Inhale in, spine lengthens, ribs lift. Exhale, engage abdominals. Keep those abdominals engaged for a moment. Remove your hands. Try to keep that spine nice and tall. Core is still engaging. See if you can relax the shoulders back and down a little bit more. And so sometimes when we're doing this, our shoulders can kind of go up towards the ears. See if you can relax them down. Take a nice big breath in. And exhale, release. Relaxing the abdominals and relaxing the muscles of the lower back. So take a moment to notice now, after doing a few of those breaths, which parts of your body are feeling a little fatigue from holding. So for me, I'm feeling a bit of fatigue in my lower back and a little bit in my obliques. And so what this breathing exercise helps us do is it helps us learn how to breathe in such a way that we're able to get those full expansive breaths without doing that postural change where we jet the chest forward. And so part of the reason why my obliques and my lower back are a little sore from doing that is because it's engaging those muscles I'm maybe not typically engaging in order to keep my spine nice and tall, to keep my posture nice and straight. And so you can kind of use that to notice for yourself what parts of the body are maybe a little bit weaker when it comes to our posture. We'll come back to that breathing exercise once we get into our standing position and do a few more of those breaths from that foundation practice I was talking about from the beginning of our practice. So before moving towards that and ending our mindful movement session, I just wanted to do a little bit of exercising for the legs or a little bit of stretching for the legs. So let's start by extending our legs nice and long so there's no bend in the knee. Take a nice inhale up and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift so that the tips of your fingertips are touching the ground. And then exhale, fold further forward, let the spine round. Do that a few times. Inhale, gently lift the chest, top of the fingertips come to touch the ground. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. One more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And go ahead and draw the top of the right ankle over the left knee. Almost like you're coming into a crisscross shape with just the right leg. Now you might notice coming into this shape that it's creating a stretch through the hips. If this feels like plenty of a stretch for you, you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to go a little bit further, you can stack the forearms on top of that right leg and gently begin leaning forward. Let's go ahead and stay here for a few breaths, inhaling, lengthening the spine, as in straightening the spine, not necessarily lifting up, but straightening the spine. And then exhale, folding forward, hinging more over that right leg. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. A few more breaths, just like that. And go ahead and begin rising up. And let your right leg cross all the way over the left leg. Legs are crossed. Inhale, reach the arms long. Exhale, draw the left arm underneath the right arm. Give yourself a hug, reaching back towards the shoulders. You're welcome to stay here, or you can lift the hands, let the back of the hands touch, or wrap all the way around so the palms come to touch, creating an eagle arm shape. Wherever you're at, inhale, lengthen the spine. You'll feel the shoulder blades stretch. And then exhale, engage the abdominals. That practice we were engaging with a few postures ago. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, engage the abdominals. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, engage the abdominals. 1 more inhale in. Exhale, engage the core. Inhale in. Exhale, release the arms, fold over your crossed legs. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips touch the ground. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. 1 more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gently rise up. Release the legs. Extend the legs long. We'll come back into a forward fold 1 more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. This is enough of a stretch for you. You can stay here, or you can begin folding forward, maybe stacking the forearms on top of that left shin. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, folding forward. Few more breaths just like that. On your next breath in, rise up. Cross the left leg over the right. Inhale, arms reach wide. Exhale, right arm underneath the left, hug the body. Can stay here or lift the hands, back of the hands touch, or palms come all the way around to touch. Keep the elbows lifted. You want them about the height of the shoulders. Nice big breath in, lengthen the spine, crown of the head reaches up. Exhale, engage the abdominals. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, engage the abdominals. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, engage the abdominals. 1 more, you got this. I know this is hard. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, engage the core. Another big breath in. Exhale, relax the arms, fold over those legs. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. On your next inhale, slowly rise up, curling the spine 1 vertebrae at a time. And then crossing your legs as you rise up into your seat. That is going to be the conclusion of our chair yoga sequence. To end our mindful movement practice, I want to do a few breaths from a standing posture that can again help us lengthen our posture and learn how to breathe into the back body, just for those folks who were interested in this last week. So we'll want to find ourselves in a standing position. And from here, I want you to find your feet hip width distance, which is about 2 fist widths between our feet. Our hips are actually a little narrower than sometimes we think they are. And as your feet come to hip width distance, I want the outside edges of your feet to be parallel with each other, which can mean you might put your toes in just a tiny bit. Now from here, imagine that you're ripping the floor apart underneath the feet. And so you're trying to pull the floor away from each, how do I describe this? Sorry. I would say ripping the floor apart underneath your feet. You're like using both feet to pull outward. And when you do this, it creates a lot of engagement through the outside of the legs. And so with the bottom of the feet ripping the floor apart, pulling energetically outwards. Now from here, find a nice and tall spine, shoulders back and down, really firing through the legs, really ripping the floor apart. And then I want you to send your hips straight back. And so without tilting the pelvis back at all, still having a nice tall spine, I want you to hinge at the hips, sending the hips straight back. So I'm going to show kind of 2 examples. What we don't want is you tilting the pelvis back and then going back. What we do want is a nice and tall spine and just shifting, not shifting the pelvis at all, but just pushing the hips straight back. I almost like to imagine I'm like pushing a drawer shut with my glutes. Like spine is still nice and tall. I'm just pushing a drawer back, chest comes forward. And so we're in this hinged position. Spine is still tall, shoulders back and down. Now find that hang loose sign with your hands, still ripping the floor apart underneath the feet. Place your pinky at your hip bone and your thumb at the lowest rib. Keep the elbows really wide here. Straight line from the knuckles to the wrists to the elbows. So we're not kinking or bending the wrist at all. And then we're going to take a few of those breaths that we practice from the chair. So start with the exhale, empty the lungs. Nice big breath in. Feel the spine lengthen and ribs lift. Exhale, really engage the abdominals, and then also engage the pelvic floor. So it's that motion of doing a Kegel or sucking in and up from the base of the pelvis. Again, nice big breath in, ribs lift. Exhale, engage the abdominals, pull the elbows a little bit wider. One more time, nice big breath in, ribs lift. Exhale, engage the abdominals, keep those ribs lifted. Go ahead and relax. Shake the posture out. So that should feel pretty fatiguing, and you should feel some activation through the backside of the body. This is a great exercise for teaching your body how to have a nice and strong back. An example I always think of for myself is like, I'm a pretty tall person, so if I'm doing the dishes, sometimes I'll be kind of hunched over in my sink doing the dishes. Your spine, while it can handle that, it can't forever. You know, back bodies tend to be pretty sensitive, and hunching over, doing the dishes, doing chores, maybe lifting stuff up with a bent spine, that will compromise the integrity of your spinal column over time. What this does, getting in that posture, engaging the abdominals, engaging the muscles of the lower back, keeps the spine in a lot of integrity and keeps your spine super strong. What we're doing there is, you might have noticed in that motion of ripping the floor apart underneath the feet, we're using the glutes a bunch to support the spine. We're using the abdominals a bunch to support the spine. And so then you can think about doing something like, even if I'm doing the dishes from this posture, I'm having tons of strength through my body. I'm not just relying on my spine bones to support my body. And so this is just a great practice for if you're someone who wants more integrity with their posture and wants more integrity with their breathing. Let's go ahead and do it one more time for those of you who are enjoying this, finding this interesting. So feet hip width distance, sides of the feet are parallel, outside edges of the feet are parallel, I should say. Pull the floor apart underneath the feet. Lengthen the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, shoulders back and down. Ripping the floor apart is creating sensation through the outside of the legs. Legs are really strong. And now hinging forward, hips push straight back. It's like we're shutting a drawer with the glutes. Find your hang loose hands. Pinkies are at the hips, thumbs are at the lowest rib. We're not bending the wrist at all, but the wrist is straight. And then we'll find 3 breaths from here. So as you're ready, find an exhale out, empty the lungs. Nice big breath in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, engage the abdominals, ribs stay lifted. Elbows stay wide, still ripping the floor apart underneath the feet. Again, nice big breath in. Exhale, ribs stay lifted, engage the abdominals, engage pelvic floor. One more time. Nice big breath in. Exhale, engage the abdominals, still ripping the floor apart, engage pelvic floor, ribs are staying lifted. Go ahead and relax. Find your way back into your seated position. As you come into your seat, go ahead and soften your gaze towards the floor or close the eyes. Take the next few moments to let your awareness be with your breathing rhythm. Go ahead and transition your awareness from the breath into the body. Notice any subtle sensations moving through the body. Maybe noticing temperature shifts after some movement. Maybe noticing the texture of clothes as they touch your skin. Maybe tuning into some of our body-based feelings. Noticing ease, openness, tension, fatigue. And then lastly, transitioning our awareness into our mental landscape, coming into the space of our own mind, and noticing how the mind is feeling after some mindful movement. Staying here for a few more breaths. Go ahead and end our practice by taking one breath together. Exhale out, empty the lungs. Take a nice big breath in. And exhale out the mouth. So you're ready, you can flutter the eyes open, come back into the space. And so that was our week 5 lesson for mindful movement. The intention of going through a seated yoga practice was to explore how our mind, our body, and our breathing felt different after a movement practice. So I invite you to notice for yourself what changed for you over the last 30 minutes of moving. Did the mind feel different? Did sensations of the body change? Was there less agitation or more ease, or, what happened for you? And so as we continue with our homework and move into the next week, which really is 2 weeks until we see each other, we'll be transitioning to adding our movement practice. And so we have our week 5 homework, our movement, which now we're checking off every day for movement, meditation, and breath work. We're adding 15 minutes of movement to our practice. Our movement does not need to be what I just did. So this was a practice mindful movement, but I want you to use a movement style that is authentic to you. This could be going for a walk, doing some yoga at home. This could be cycling or running, like I know some of you do. Qigong, whatever type of movement you want to do that feels good. I want you to do 15 minutes at least before you go into your breath work and your meditation. And I want you to notice how movement changes your practice. So what is different after doing some movement? I think that's all I have to say. You'll have this video. Feel free to watch it as much as you would like. I definitely went over, a 15-minute movement practice. That was a little more like 30 to 40 minutes, so that was a bit longer than I had planned. But you're welcome to continue to come back to this video and watch it to get some inspiration around movement. If you're wondering what type of movement you could do for yourself, this is a great option. Even resources like YouTube have so many yoga practices, Qigong practices, Pilates, dance videos. Like, there's all sorts of movement on here. The invitation to create some more mindfulness while you move is to add in that linking breath with movement portion. And so with yoga, that can be really easy to do as you inhale here, exhale there. I want you to notice as you're running or cycling or walking, notice how you're breathing as you move and see if you can sync up some of your movements with your breath. Okay, that is today's practice. I hope you all have a beautiful Tuesday, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Unless you want to schedule a one-on-one session, you have the link. I would love to see some of you in some private sessions if that would be supportive for you. So that's it. Okay, have a beautiful rest of your week, everyone. Bye.